Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is September 14, 2022, and we are in the New Testament, and we are going to read out of Luke, and we're going to read chapter 9, verse 51 to 10, verse 24 today. All right, so first we see Jesus going into Samaria. Now, that's pretty significant because first century Jews and first century Samaritans hated each other. When I said hated each other, I mean if you were a first century Jew and you were coming from the north going to Jerusalem and you got to Samarian territory, rather than go through it, you would go all the way around it just so your feet wouldn't touch their dirt. That's how much they hated each other. But Jesus says, you know what, I'm going through. And he sends out an advance crowd to go ahead of him and clear the way, and they get to a village, and the village says, we don't want them coming through here, and they come back to Jesus and say, can we go smite him? Can we go smite him, huh? Please come go smite him? And he's like, no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to destroy. I'm here to save people. He talks about discipleship a little bit, and then he sends out his disciples on that first evangelism trip, I guess would be a good way to call it. Now, how many disciples does he have? Well, we always want to say 12, but he had a lot of disciples. In this section, he's going to have 70 that he has. Well, I thought he had 12. He had a lot of disciples, but only 12 had names. That'd be like if you look on the sideline of a football game. There's a lot of people standing there, but there's only a certain amount that are the stars. They're going to be the starters. So he's got a big team. 12 of them got their names on their jerseys. The 12 would be Simon Peter and John and James and Andrew and Matthew and Judas and Doc and Grumpy and okay, sorry, that was a joke. Simon Peter and his brother Andrew. He had the brothers John and James. You had Matthew, and he had a brother named Judas, which was also, or no, he had a brother named James. So it starts to get confusing. There were actually two Judases, Judas Iscariot and the Judas that they called Thaddeus, Bartholomew, you had Thomas, you had another Simon. I think we got them all. If I missed one, sorry, we'll pick them up later. Of that 12, 3 were kind of the captains of that team. So that would have been Simon Peter and the brothers John and James. And of that 3, one of them, John, was Jesus' best friend. So that's kind of how it works. John and Jesus and John. Then you had, next up would be Peter and John and James that are kind of the leaders with Jesus. And of that, Peter would actually be the leader of the group. That's when Jesus had an order, he gave it to Peter. Peter made sure everybody else did it. And then you had the other 9 who were named disciples. That would have been the team that would follow Jesus around. When we just talked about him feeding the 5,000, those would have been the ones that were organizing people and having them sit down. And of those, he had even more that would follow along and come in and out. And as he'd go into a town, they would be there. Maybe they would stay in the town because they had wives and kids. And of those, we get 70 that he's going to send out on this mission and say, hey, I want you to go out 2 by 2 and start preaching the word. And if they accept you, stay there and teach them. And if they tell you to go away, well, you knocked the dirt off your feet and said, fine, I'm going away. You had your chance. I'm going to the next village. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Luke chapter 9, verse 51 to 10:24 today. All right. Now it came to pass, when the time had come for him to be received up, that he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face. And as they went, they entered a village of the Samaritans to prepare for him. But they did not receive him, because his face was set for the journey to Jerusalem. And when his disciples James and John saw this, they said, Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, just as Elijah did? But he turned and rebuked them and said, you do not know what manner of spirit you are of, for the Son of Man did not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. And they went to another village. Now it happened as they journeyed on the road that someone said to him, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then he said to another, follow me. But he said, Lord, let me go first and bury my father. Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and preach the kingdom of God. And another also said, Lord, I will follow you, but let me first go and bid them farewell who are at my house. But Jesus said to him, no one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. After these things the Lord appointed 70 others also, and sent them 2 by 2 before his face into every city and place where he himself was about to go. Then he said to them, The harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. Go your way, behold, I send you out as lambs among wolves. Carry neither money bag, knapsack, nor sandals, and greet no one along the road. But whatever house you enter, first say peace to this house. And if a son of peace is there, your peace will rest on it. And if not, it will return to you. And remain in the same house, eating and drinking such things as they give, for the laborer is worthy of his wages. Do not go from house to house. Whatever city you enter, and they receive you, eat such things as are set before you, and heal the sick there, and say to them, The kingdom of God is come near to you. But whatever city you enter, and they do not receive you, go out into its street and say, The very dust of your city which clings to us we wipe off against you. Nevertheless know this, that the kingdom of God is come near you. But I say to you that it will be more tolerable in that day for Sodom than for that city. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, who are exalted to heaven, will be brought down to Hades. He who hears you, hears me. He who rejects you, rejects me. And he who rejects me, rejects him who sent me. Then the 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. And he said to them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. At that hour Jesus rejoiced in the Spirit, and said, I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and prudent, and revealed them to babes. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in your sight. All things have been delivered to me by my Father, and no one knows who the Son is except the Father, and who the Father is except the Son, and the one to whom the Son wills to reveal him. Then he turned to his disciples and said privately, Blessed are the eyes which see the things you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it, and to hear what you hear, and have not heard it. May God bless the reading of his word, and may God bless you. Bye.